You notice the clock has slipped past midnight, and the office has an aquarium hush where machines breathe and people don't. You're at your screen, stitching a promise someone else made from your hours. The city outside keeps its secrets. Inside, you're donating tomorrow's strength to cover tonight's gap. You told yourself it was kindness. It feels more like a slow leak. A gift without a guardrail becomes a pipeline. The more it flows, the less anyone notices the source. Mercy, when edges blur, turns into a conduit others route their delays through, smiling as they pass. That's not evil. It's appetite. Warmth is not a contract to be used. And when you keep saying yes, hungry hands learn your shape. There's a difference between mercy and martyrdom. Mercy relieves suffering while preserving the giver. Martyrdom burns the giver to fuel the moment. One steadies the room. The other trains the room to expect more fire. Schopenhauer kept a lamp for understanding appetites. Desire expands to the boundary you offer, then asks again. Not because people are monsters, but because wanting is tireless. So let's clean the guilt. You weren't wrong to care. You were early to surrender. The instinct to help wasn't the mistake. The mistake was helping without a frame that protected sides, a kindness that forgot its backbone. Pity that weakens says, I'll carry you forever. Compassion that strengthens says, I'll walk beside you until your legs return. You can keep your soft heart and still choose firm lines. The night is long, but it isn't endless. Your power isn't. Give like a well, not a spill. Tomorrow you'll need your water. There's one sentence that calms hot rooms and keeps your mercy intact. We'll reach it later. This is for the kind who want to stay whole. Mercy is relief given to suffering without demanding repayment. Freely. It lifts weight so a person can catch their breath, and it does not send an invoice later. It is not a lifetime subscription or a door left unlocked forever. It is a gift offered with eyes open. I see your pain. I will ease it. We will both remain whole. Confuse it with compliance and you start paying for other people's comfort with your health. Compassion asks what helps. Compliance asks what keeps them happy. Grace forgives a stumble. Guilt makes you mop the street. Mercy arrives with a hand and leaves with dignity. Compliance arrives with a smile and leaves with your weekend. Perhaps you've lived the small slide. A colleague begs a one-time exception. You stay late, patch their deadlines and wave off thanks. Next week the request returns, now softer and faster, as if the road has always curved this way. By month's end, the exception has become a floor plan. Your kindness has been rebranded as capacity. Here's the model when your stomach tightens. Relief, repetition, right. First, you grant relief. Then repetition builds a groove. Soon the groove is treated as a right, and any refusal feels like theft. This is how mercy teaches people to price you cheaply. They stop seeing the cost because you keep covering it. You are not cold for asking for terms. You are honoring the gift you bring so it can be given again. Terms keep mercy renewable. Limits are how love survives long projects, long winters, long families. A clear fence protects the field that feeds everyone. Why do asks keep multiplying the moment you soften? Schopenhauer named the engine that keeps asking, meet the will, and learn how to face it without losing your warmth. He worked alone, mostly a walker of grey streets and thoughts, listening for the engine under human noise. Schopenhauer watched how craving tugs at every sleeve and rewrites plans, how a room fills with wants the way a harbor fills with tide. He called it the will, not a noble purpose, just crude appetite that keeps asking, then asking more. You can see it in meetings, markets, families, impulse dressed as inevitability. Here's the principle in daylight. The will is blind appetite. If you feed it, it expands. Give without form and it learns your shape. Offer open hours and it grows a mouth for each minute. Tell yourself it's easier to appease, and soon the easy path owns your calendar. Appetite doesn't negotiate. It tests for edges and occupies whatever isn't fenced. What you stop feeding stops ruling. This isn't meanness, it's hygiene. A plant pruned survives storms. A life pruned survives other people's weather. You can be merciful and still refuse to be swallowed. Try the smallest rehearsal. Someone pushes for a shortcut that risks your name. You answer softly, "No for today. I'll help once the checklist exists." Discomfort rises like heat off asphalt. A beat later it breaks, pens appear. Respect follows not because you fought, but because you held a shape. Edges teach appetite how to behave. So keep compassion but add form. Relieve pain without surrendering steering. Ask, what is the standard, the cost, the proof? Put mercy on rails, time-boxed, reversible, visible. When kindness travels in a structure, it reaches farther and returns home with you. Now we can name what turns your mercy into a siphon, small leaks that scale into drains. 7 patterns, common and quiet. Convert goodwill into obligation. Let's spot them together and seal each one before it empties you. Deadlines have a smell at midnight. You know it. Burnt coffee, stale hope. A clock that clicks louder than the room deserves. You step in again, rescue late work, and watch something subtle harden in their faces. Gratitude visits briefly. Contempt rents a desk. Your time stops looking like a gift and starts looking like a bucket they can tip whenever they spill. Seal this leak gently. Relief once, rule next. Publish a hard cut-off and keep it. Mercy before the bell. Policy after money leaks differently. You pay to ease a wobble. Cab fare, fees, the just this time bridge. It works, then repeats, then brands you. Without a boundary, generosity becomes your job title. Seal it with sunlight. Give with an end date and a condition. I'll cover this one. After this, we plan payments. The gift lands clean. The role evaporates. Feelings find the softest listener. You become midnight therapy. Inbox sermons. Long voice notes poured like water into whatever vessel you are. You care and it shows. Then the river never returns to its banks. Seal it with a listening window and an action that belongs to them. I've got 15 minutes now. Tomorrow book the counselor and text me you did. Presence, then a handoff. Sympathy without capture. None of this asks you to harden. It asks you to name the edge, so your kindness survives the week. People respect water that knows its shores. You can bring blankets without building a hotel. You can help once and then install the rule that keeps help from being required again. The next 4 leaks are quieter, built from smiles and implied debts, and they cost more if ignored. Let's find them before the month does, and patch them where the bucket stays warm. Bring your pen and patience, title creep arrives smiling. You keep the calendar, settle disputes, mentor new hires, and quietly become the manager without the pay or vote. People start routing choices through you because you never drop the ball. Seal it by naming scope and tying duties to role and rate. Happy to lead sprints once the title and compensation reflect it. Clarity is not greed. It's governance. Then the calendar turns merciful into available. Your anytime becomes a hotline that rings through dinner and sleep. Set office hours and a response time standard. Reach me 9 to 5. Urgent texts only for production breaks. Replies within 1 business day. Watch emergencies shrink to size when nights regain a lock. Reputation leaks are softer. You become the easy yes, the path of least resistance. Repair it with a visible no+1 alternative path. Can't take this on. Try Kara's backlog form or the Tuesday triage. A graceful detour preserves goodwill while teaching the room you aren't the spillway. Last, the apology that buys quiet at the price of self-respect. You self-blame to end conflict, and the room learns you'll absorb the weather. Switch to shared responsibility and propose repairs. I missed an assumption. We also skipped a review. Here are the 2 steps to fix and prevent. Accountability that includes everyone builds sturdier bridges than guilt ever did. All these seals do the same gentle math. Kindness with form increases dignity on both sides. Edges hold shape so generosity can travel farther and return. People begin to time their asks to your structure, because structure gives them something to lean on besides you. And a warning for soft hearts. Explaining yourself won't fix leaks. It often breeds contempt. Next we'll see why speeches pay interest while standards pay down the bill. Watch what happens to deference. You tried to be gracious. You wrote 3 careful paragraphs explaining the delay, owning your part, listing blockers, promising to make it up. You pressed send expecting relief. What arrived was a bigger ask. Could you cover the weekend shift? Your words had paid, but not the bill you meant. They taught the room your boundary could be bargained with if story was long enough. Here's the spiral I've watched in busy seasons. Explain, expose, escalate. First you explain believing full context will cool the air. Then you expose your thresholds, your anxieties, the seams in your calendar. Finally they escalate, because now they know where to push. Every explanation spends a little crown, not because clarity is bad, but because over-clarity signals your no needs permission. The more you justify, the more you invite cross-examination. Soon you're defending decisions that should simply be set. Trade reasons for rails. Rails are short, sturdy, and testable. Time, here's when I'm available, here's when I'm not. Scope, here's what this yes includes, here's what it doesn't. Cost, here's the risk I'll carry, here's the risk you'll carry. Rails turn temperature into terms. They give people a map and signal to opportunists that the road has edges. Watch the contrast. Speech. I'm really sorry, I know it's important, I just have a lot on my plate, and frame, I can take 2 hours today. Beyond that, we schedule Monday. Speech. I hate to disappoint you. Maybe if I skip dinner. Frame. Happy to proceed when owners, risks, and review gate are documented. Your kindness doesn't shrink when your sentences do. It concentrates. Short lines lift respect because they make choices legible. You're in the late kitchen listening to the kettle hum like a distant train. The lights are soft. On the counter sits a small card you made when nights got crowded. Across the top, 1-word spine. You touch it the way a traveler touches a map, then breathe once slow. First move. Name the suffering. Say exactly what hurts for them, without taking it as your duty. Missed revenue, a frightened client, a deadline that slipped, a promise they fear breaking. Put it in a sentence you could read back to them without flinching. Compassion begins where guessing stops. Second move, name the form. Kindness needs edges to last. Choose a time window you can live with, a scope that keeps the work true and cost-sharing that respects both signatures. I can give 90 minutes tonight. The rest goes Monday. I'll own the draft. You own the data. I'll carry rollout. You carry rollback. Form is the bowl that lets help hold its shape. Third move, name the proof. What one next step belongs to them? A spec by noon, a risk list. A calendar invite with owners and review gate. Proof keeps mercy from becoming weather. It teaches the room to bring wood, not wind. Answer as the owner, not the overflow. Owners give direction and terms. Overflows apologize and keep mopping. Write the lines in pen. Feel the mug warm your hands. Let your shoulders drop as the window fogs and clears. Do this before replies, before meetings, before decisions that arrive disguised as kindness. Repetition turns posture into muscle memory, the kind that holds you upright when rooms tilt. Keep the card visible. Read it aloud until the cadence feels like home. Then breathe twice each time. You get the ping just as your coat finds your shoulders. If you cared, you'd stay late again. The words borrow virtue to buy your time. Old reflexes stir. Instead, you breathe, slow enough to hear the room's hunger. You choose the ritual you've been practicing, the one that drains heat without drawing swords. You mirror one fact. Yes, the deadline is tight. The air nods because truth doesn't fight. Then you set the form. I can give one focused hour tonight. Build at the rush rate, limited to stabilizing the failing tests. After that, I'm back at 9 to finish the rest within the agreed scope. You let each rail click into place. Window, fee, scope. Now the proof that belongs to them. Please post the checklist and owners in the thread in the next 15 minutes. When that's up, I'll start my hour. If it's missing, we roll to morning. No lecture, no apology, only terms that make help hold a shape. Watch what happens. The volume drops. Urgency loses oxygen because structure replaced it. Someone types the list. Another adds the risk gate. The hour becomes enough because panic isn't steering. You leave on time with your spine intact and return to a smaller fire that respects the bucket you bring. This is how mercy raises respect. Pace over panic, precision over pleading, small proofs over promises. The leaks you once carried, deadline rescues, calendar hotlines, apology purchases, quietly seal without cruelty. You didn't punish. You priced. You didn't withdraw. You designed. People learn the rhythm and bring their asks in the key you set. It works under pressure. Carry this into threads and rooms and kitchens. It travels. The more you practice it, the more your yes means something sturdy. Here it is, small enough to fit a pocket and sturdy enough for heat. Happy to move fast when risks named and rollback exist by Friday. Say it once, level and plain. It doesn't accuse or surrender. It trades adrenaline for structure in a single breath. Picture a chaotic stand-up, voices stacked, eyes on the clock. Someone pushes, "Ship it now. We'll patch live." You feel the tug toward either silence or speeches. You use the line, heads lift. The oxygen returns because the room suddenly has rails. A tester writes the risk list. The spec freezes just enough to hold shape. Tempo stays high. Panic drops out of the track. Authority is the quiet that survives pressure. You don't dominate the room. You steady it. The sentence is a soft gavel. It names the pace, demands the form, and preserves the human. Schopenhauer would nod. Limit the will and love stays clean. Appetite expands until it meets a boundary. Compassion survives by offering one. Your line is that boundary. No drama, only terms. Carry variants for different rooms. At work. I'm in once owners, risks and review gate are written. At home. Yes. When we plan time and how we'll unwind. With friends. Count me in if we set a cap and a check-in. Same melody, new lyrics. The message is constant. I'll help when the ground is stable enough to stand together. Repeat it until your mouth knows the rhythm. Repetition turns posture into character. Character turns culture. People begin to plan around your edges. And thank you for the air they bring. The sentence doesn't make you hard. It makes you dependable. Keep it where you keep your keys. Try it tonight gently. And watch hurried rooms remember their doors and the people walking through them. Calm, intact, together. Days begin to feel lighter. Fewer apologies, fewer rescue missions. Your calendar looks like a path instead of a puddle. Help actually helps. It lands where it's needed, stays inside its shape, and leaves both sides standing. Meetings settle faster, because standards arrive before speeches. You sleep earlier and the morning doesn't bargain with you anymore. Then the scene returns. Same person, same tone, familiar tug. Could you just cover it again? You feel the old ache stir, then the new rhythm holds. You mirror the deadline, name the scope, set the proof. 1 hour tonight for stabilizing tests, then full pass tomorrow with owners listed. The room exhales. Respect rises not because you yielded, but because you steered. The work improves when you keep the rails. You realize something bright. You weren't too much. You were too unguarded. Your kindness was never the problem. Its lack of edges was. Form lets care travel farther, without spilling you across the week. People learn your cadence and bring their asks to match it. Trust replaces testing, because your yes now means something measurable. Keep the 2-minute ritual close. Name the suffering, name the form, name the proof. Use it before replies, before decisions, before sleep. Let repetition teach your nervous system a slower drum. Write terms like postcards to your future self, and send them on time. Guard your mercy with form, and your form will guard your mercy. That's the kindness that doesn't disappear, truly present, paced, and renewable. It turns long projects humane and long friendships durable. It frees you to be generous without going missing. Take the quiet seat at the edge of the fire with the rare, patient tribe, the ones who carry blankets and boundaries, who move at human pace and rest well. There's room here. Stay whole.